Hello, and welcome to Hazardous Opinions. My name's Eric. There's Andy.
Hello.
And today we're talking about The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, first one in the series. This movie came out in 2001. It is an action-adventure, drama, fantasy movie, directed by Peter Jackson.
Indeed. Yeah, the man known for, mostly the series and the follow-up prequels, The Hobbit and King Kong. All great movies. But yeah, this movie stars a lot of big names. We discussed a little bit before the episode what actually qualifies as a big name, but it does star people like Kate Blanchett, Elijah Wood, Ian McKellen, Sean Bean, Andy Serkis. It could go on. There's a lot of names in here that are very popular and have been in a lot of stuff. A lot of these people, this is kind of near the start of their career, but you have people, of course, like Ian McKellen and Christopher Lee, who go on to continue to have huge careers after this. But yeah, and then one of my favorite actors in here that I noticed, Dominic Monaghan, who's Charlie in Lost, was a fun surprise to see in here.
Oh, yeah. I remember him.
Yeah, I like that guy. So, before I get into the synopsis a little bit, what did you think of this movie?
10 out of 10. Perfect.
Damn,
I love it.
it's quite the high rating.
Yeah, it is. And it deserves it because I've seen this movie a million times and I'll see it a million more times before I die, mark my words. And I love everything about it. There's so much like heroism and complex characters in it, and just like the story of the whole thing. I mean, Tolkien like just created a universe that is just reaming with fantasy land. All like if you just like if you're a fan of like fantasy stuff, like this is the movie for you because like or not the movie, I mean movie series,
Yeah,
because it's got all of it. It's got wizards, got
dragons.
sword fighting, dragons, big monsters, all kinds of different races of you know people. I guess I wouldn't say like yeah. There's like humans, elves, dwarves. I mean, it's like classic, D&D style like universe.
Yeah, I would say it's probably a big reason for the popularization of a lot of these as staple races for the fantasy genre as well. Like,
Yeah.
what fantasy game do you play that doesn't have like at least dwarves or elves as a character? Hobbits aren't as big, but dragons, of course, are huge in the fantasy genre.
Yep.
Yeah, this movie is, or this movie series and book series is a starting point for a lot of good stuff in the future.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I haven't seen this movie in 8-9 years. It's been quite a while since I've seen this movie series. I know you probably watched it a lot more than I do.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it still held up for me. We both watched the extended edition, but I think I would probably give this around an 8.6, 8.7. There's a few things I think that hold the movie back for me, and I don't think the extended edition as a whole brought it down. I think it's just the first half of the movie. As someone who's seen these quite a few times, albeit a long time ago, I still remembered a lot of the setup. So I felt like the first hour of setup was just kind of just come on, I already know this stuff. But this movie really picks up in the second half for me personally, and really drills into all the fantasy stuff when it gets into the combat, actually getting up into Mordor near the end there, and dealing with the like Uruk-hai. All that stuff is just love it. It's just pure fantasy perfection.
Hmm.
And this is probably a movie you could recommend to any person who loves like fantasy.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no doubt that you would love this movie if you're a fan of fantasy like I am.
Yeah. So I'm not going to summarize the entire movie as there's 4 hours of content,
Eh.
but the brief rundown of this movie is we have our main protagonist, Frodo Baggins, who receives this very powerful ancient ring from his uncle Bilbo, who we get to see later in the Hobbit prequels. And this ring is one of, was it 10 rings? There's
9.
nine, had to do math. One of 18 other rings. Because they said
Right.
369 to the elves, dwarves, and to man.
Oh, well, maybe there's 18 rings. Okay.
But this one is from, I guess I haven't read the books, at least from what the movie tells us, is the most powerful ring of all of them. And as Frodo receives the ring, this dark force, Lord Sauron, is kind of aware of the ring's presence and is coming back to retrieve it. So Frodo and his hobbit friends and a whole lot of other people we're going to meet along the way kind of have to go to Mordor to bring it back to where it was created and destroy it in Mount Doom.
Of all the, witty names like Tolkien could come up with, he's just like Mount Doom.
I'm sure
It's
it's
like, come
go
on now.
back then. Like 40 years ago. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's I laughed when they mentioned it in the movie.
Yeah.
But that's also one of the other big points that I find in this movie is it's got such a huge group of people going on this journey. It's not your normal 4 or 5, sometimes trio of people that go. There's like 9 people in the group, and they
Yeah.
all get like, their time to shine. There's no one like overlapping each other more than others. I feel like everyone just gets an equal amount of time to be really good developed characters.
Yeah. It's
Even
like everyone has a role to play in this group, and they all have their strengths and play off each other.
yeah, or weaknesses in the case of Sean Bean.
Yeah.
Who's
Well,
I mean, like his character. Sorry, I really like him as an actor, but
yeah, no, like
Boromir.
his character Boromir. Boromir is actually like one of my favorite characters in this movie, mainly because of his whole arc. Even though he felt susceptible to the ring, which is easy to do according to you know most of Middle Earth. He still he still redeemed himself at the end, and he you know admitted his faults and all that. Like it's like one of those things where he sacrificed himself, so like you gotta forgive him.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, even Gandalf could barely even resist and just ask Frodo to
Exactly.
bring away from him. So
It's like everyone else like everyone else is like admitting their weakness to this ring, so that's why they give it to Frodo, but Boromir thinks he can control it, and turns out he failed at that. So
yeah, so gonna jump into spoiler territory here.
yeah, well, spoiled.
Spoiled.
Already
Yeah.
spoiled.
So this movie opens up again. As we said in the intro, we're watching the extended edition. It's around 4 hours. I think the original was what 2.5. So it adds
Yeah.
like an extra hour and 15 minutes of content. It doesn't feel like it drags the movie on overall, though. I did have to watch this in 2 parts, but that's mostly just due to time constraints.
Yeah.
And I do think someone going into this for the first time, maybe it's going to be a lot of information, like when we watched Dune, but it didn't really
Uh
bother me too much.
no, like I feel like it was like if I tried to put myself into the mindset of someone watching it for the first time with the extended version, because it's the first time I've seen the extended version this time around. and I feel like if it was my first time watching it, like I feel like I would be able to be invested more in the Shire and everything around it, because like that's like the whole like thing going into it. That's why these hobbits are so like so heroic, because like they think of the Shire every time they reach a point where their faith is tested in this mission, right, or this
Mhm.
quest. And they think of the Shire and thinking about losing all that, and then they get muster up all this heroism, and then they do something awesome. So I mean, but like with the whole first part of the movie, I did notice there was a narrator in the beginning that kind of explained stuff. I don't think there was any of that in the original version.
Yeah, I don't think there was, because there was a couple of scenes with what's his name? It's like Isendril, the original guy who received the ring after he cut off the hand of Sauron.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of went mad with it. I don't remember any of those scenes,
That
but
was that
thought
was
I,
in the original.
I thought I did remember something about like some sort of introduction to the ring before we meet the
Yeah,
hobbits. But maybe it just wasn't that long or no narration.
maybe it was a little longer, but yeah, that was definitely there in the originals. But yeah, that was basically saying like how Sauron used to be in solid form, I guess, when he had the ring, and he was just destroying everybody, and then yeah, he got the ring cut off of him. That was the only thing that could stop him, is just cutting off his fingers, which was a little bit odd to me. Could have, I don't know, done something more cool than that, but
Yeah, it's like as a indestructible-ish being,
yeah,
I feel like your hand is pretty like vulnerable and out there as you're swinging your sword.
yeah. In his first instinct, instead of like killing him, which he could have very well easily done, he's just like, "I'm gonna grab you."
With my
When he
ring hand.
does that, that's when he cuts off his fucking fingers and he blows up.
Yeah, that's like yeah, not the greatest of ideas there.
No, but I mean, they stayed faithful to the book, so it wasn't, it's not their fault. They could have rewrote it, but that would have been not not cool.
Yeah, you know, don't piss off Tolkien anymore.
No.
So I just kind of wondered, and a lot of these answers are probably in the book somewhere, of course, as it is with Dune and Star Wars and everything else. But like, I wonder how they chose how many rings to give to each race, because the intro narrator was talking a lot of shit on humans. It's like then they gave them 9 rings, even though
Yeah,
the
even though they're
elves
the
had
ones,
the least amount of rings. It's like the elves probably would have been the most capable hands.
but the man desired most power, or the most power too. So like, if anything, they would fall susceptible to rings of power, right? I mean,
Yeah.
abuse it maybe. So just give him 9 rings. It's like what?
Right. The
I guess I
dwarves,
didn't think about that too much.
yeah. I guess I get giving the dwarves like 6 of them because they can put them in their big keeps and strongholds somewhere and keep them safe.
Yeah,
But like you only gave the elves 3. Maybe it's because they're already so powerful and
yeah,
pretty
they
much
are.
better than everyone else.
Yeah, in pretty much every way too.
Yeah. Are it could be a balancing thing too. Maybe humans are the weakest of those 3 races, and so they're like, here's some rings to make the world more balanced. I don't know.
I don't know what the rings were made for, anyways. I mean, I'm sure it was explained in the Rings of Power, but I never really got into that show. I mean, because the elves, they forged the rings, and then they forged these magical rings, and just decided to give them out to everybody. Yeah, I really need to read the books. This is bothering me now.
Yeah. Oh, like I mentioned, like I think the first half drains more for me, and I think one of the big factors of that is the first 20 or so minutes where we're in the Shire, and almost everything has been memed to death from those scenes, and I just cannot unravel that from my mind when I'm viewing these. I'm just waiting for Frodo to make his weird fucking noises when he sees Gandalf.
Gandalf.
Gandalf. And just I can't get those out of my head, and just the weird lighting and everything. It just I don't much like the Shire stuff. But I like Bilbo's birthday party. I think that was one of the parts I did like of the intro area here.
Uh, what what was it about the lighting you didn't like? 'Cause it just seemed like daylight to
It's
me.
it's just something about the Shire. I get it's probably to display like safety in the light, as like we kind of talk about light and dark throughout the whole
Oh yeah, there's
season.
definitely cinematography like intentionally like throughout this whole first part because like
Yeah.
you could tell the whole like all the colors change as soon as the Nazgûl show up.
Yep.
Like all of a sudden everything gets more dark. It's all grayed out and stuff, and like they go from like being these happy go lucky hobbits to actually like running from their lives, running
Yep.
for their lives from these dark creatures.
I just find a lot of this intro area with the Shire has this almost mystical lighting, and I get why they do that to provide more stark contrasts.
Yeah.
That was just I think the only lighting in the movie I didn't much enjoy, other than I guess the elves always have this bluish lighting around them as well, and it just almost makes the movie seem more grainy when they use that lighting. I wasn't just
I
a huge
suppose.
fan of it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Uh yeah. But yeah, I mean the lighting definitely does play a part. You know, with the elves it's like, you know, more like elegant and like more sophisticated, I guess, in
Yep.
terms of like when they're in Rivendell and when they go into their territory after going through the mines of Moria
Yep.
and all that. Like you could tell, like they got like their shit on lock. So they're just like it's all like safety and they're pretty well guarded. So you just feel kind of safe when you're around the elves. But everywhere else, it is it can get a little tricky sometimes, especially when there's when they do the whole contrast from Mordor to everywhere else because it's just all dark and with dark clouds and stuff and you can see they like to use God rays a lot too. So
Yeah, they do.
I thought it was like pretty cool, anyways. But yeah,
One thing I did wonder is what is it about the elves? Like this being an introductory movie, I feel like we don't get the full sense of the elves' power. I think we see that in more of the Hobbit movies, like they're just immense armies and the kind of technology that they bring that helps them be superior as well, with some of their firepower. But in this, you kind of see like, oh, they're going to the forest to meet the elves because they know they'll be safe there, and Aragorn and Legolas lead them there. But they don't really explain why the ring wraiths don't follow them there or like attack the elves because they've already
they
been killing everyone in their path.
yeah. I mean, the ring wraiths did try. I mean, I think it's because the elves they do have magical powers, so I think that's the only thing they have against the ring wraiths because you
Mm-hmm.
know what happened to the ring wraiths on their way to Rivendell after you know Frodo got stabbed for the first time, anyways, and they're on their way to Rivendell, and then she uses the river to pretty much take out the Nazguls. So I
Yeah.
mean, like that just goes to show like what kind of power they have to protect them against the you know forces like that.
Do they all have that though, or is that just
I don't think so.
Arwen and Galadriel that
I
have this kind
I
of power?
don't I don't know if they do or not. You know, that's probably something explained in the books, but you know, like with with Galadriel being like also like already having powers. And then there was that one lady that I forgot her name, but she was like the all powerful one.
Aragorn's love interest there.
Yeah, no, that's Galadriel.
No, that
But
one's Arwen. Galadriel's the one that is later. The one that Gimli takes the three hairs from as his reward.
oh, right. Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah, yeah. Because I had to look it up because I thought the first one that Aragorn was kissing was Galadriel, and I was actually looking it up, and that one's Arwen.
Oh, I messed that up. I apologize. But okay, Arwen. It's it's just like as far as we know, like Arwen is just a regular elf, and she has powers. And then also Galadriel is like the all powerful one. She has the ring of power, and she has powers of her own too, right?
Yep.
And her dad, Arwen's dad, fucking whatever his name is, wasn't too invested in the
Oh,
elves, as you could see.
yeah, Elrond, the one that was leading the
Elrond.
council there. Yeah,
Yes.
because that
He
was
also has healing powers because he was the one that was able to. He was the only one because remember Arwen was like, I got to get him to my dad or my
yep.
father so he can heal him. So he has healing powers because he got stabbed by a magical sword.
It's one way
And
to put it. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know exactly what happened there, but I'm sure is explained in the books. we'll,
Yep.
we'll quote that a lot. Make that a quote.
Yeah, I knew Elrond because I looked him up. I'm like, that guy looks fucking familiar, but he looks so much
Yeah,
younger in this. I looked him up, and it's Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving. Yeah, he was Mr. Smith or Agent Smith
Yep.
from The Matrix. That's what I
Yep.
remember him from.
He's in Stranger Things as well. He's the dad like figure, the sheriff,
What?
the sheriff guy in Stranger Things.
No. Fucking Hopper?
Yeah,
No. That's not him.
is that right?
No, it's not. I don't know what his name is, but that's not Hugo.
Okay? No, I messed it up.
Because you've seen Violent Night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That like whoever plays Santa Claus in that is the same one that plays
Oh,
Hopper.
David Harbour.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
it is.
Those
Yeah.
guys look alike.
Do they though?
If you look at their modern pictures, I think they do.
I suppose.
Okay, that makes more sense. It's like, why does David Harbour look so young?
He looks
If,
younger
if
in
this was
this.
like 40 years ago,
Oh man.
that
Yeah.
makes a lot more sense. Yeah, Hugo Weaving is in the MCU now. He's Captain Russia or whatever his name is in those Black Widow movies.
Captain Russia?
Yeah, he is a cooler name than that.
Cool.
But
Okay. You just call him Captain Russia?
that's what I'm going to call him. Yeah, he's the Red Skull. Sorry,
Oh, he's the Red. I already know who you're talking about now. I remember that. He's in Captain America too, right?
David Harbour is Captain Russia.
Oh, David Harbour is. Okay.
Yeah. See, those guys just get me mixed up. There's so many celebrity lookalikes.
Yeah.
But but anyways, yes, the council. I really enjoyed those scenes in general, where they're kind of just bickering and trying to figure out what to do, and Frodo's just there in the corner trying to like, I'll take the ring.
I'll take it. And then everybody's like, "All right, he volunteered." Like, because kind of the hobbits are the pretty much the outliers in all of Middle Earth that don't have rings
Yeah,
already. So, I mean, he
or
made it this
probably
far
armies
while
or
holding it,
anything.
so can't be that bad. Just having him take it all the way to Mordor.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, Boromir steps up to take the ring too, and he gets shot down immediately.
Yeah, he does.
Nah, that ain't happening, Chief.
Nope. And then Legolas wants to take it, and then Gimli gets all pissed off. He's like, "I will die before I let an elf take your ring," because apparently they've had. I mean, we see this in like The Hobbit, but
Yeah,
the elves and the
huge
dwarves
beef.
have like a major dispute with each other. I think. Well, what did the elves do? I think they enslaved the
I thought,
dwarves or
yeah,
something.
I think it was something like that. They enslaved them, and I think they've been at war with them quite a few times.
Yeah. So they got beef. Long story short. So, I mean, with everyone bickering, he's like, "Yeah, I'll take it." And then everybody's like, "All right, well, I'll join you. I'll protect you." And then they
My
form a
axe.
fellowship. Yeah. And my axe. And my ass. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of memes coming out of this, but I mean, what great movie of all time hasn't been memed?
That's true. That's true.
You know what I mean?
It's good going back and seeing this, and then just meme spotting as well.
Yeah.
I've done previous movies. It's like, oh, there's that one.
Yep.
But very,
I mean, because the
very
whole point of a meme is
fragmented.
that I'm sorry. It's like the whole point of a meme is that everybody gets the joke, and if everybody's seen the movie, they'll get the joke.
Yep. Yeah, definitely a very widely watched movie. It's got like 2 million ratings on IMDb.
Holy shit, he does look like him with the beard.
Yeah.
I never seen him with a beard.
So in for
I thought you
reference,
were talking crazy there for a minute, but holy shit.
just showing a picture of Weaving and Harbor side by side, and
Yeah.
if you shave off Weaving's beard, I think they look alike.
Yeah, exactly. Or even he looks more like him with the beard because I've always seen David Harbour with the beard. So I guess
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
especially in like season 3 of Stranger Things.
yeah,
Big age gap difference there, though, I'm sure.
huge.
But Hugo Weaving's still kicking it. He still looks pretty young because he's probably what 30s when this movie came out.
Yeah. He's probably like one of those vampires in the Illuminati or something.
It's like
What's
Keanu
that?
Reeves, where he's like secretly like 60.
Yeah. Well, what's that conspiracy that
He looks
how
like
Hollywood
30.
actors stay so young is they're just drinking the
Oh,
blood of babies or something?
adrenochrome and all that.
Yeah.
He's
Good stuff.
1960, so he's 63. So
63. Damn.
yeah,
He looks really young for that. He hasn't even barely got any gray on him.
yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah.
So one thing, and again, like our catchphrase, I'm sure this is going to be explained in the books. I
Yep.
do read them. But what is the power differential between Saruman and Gandalf? Do you know that? Like, so they have their little wand fight,
Their
which
tussle. Yeah. It was so
like
funny. I'm gonna agree with you on that. That shit was cheesy as hell, bro.
like that's one thing that did not age. I'm like, it could have used some like tech or something. They kept spinning each other, and he went at one point did it so many times to Gandalf, and like as he was closing the doors as well. I was like, is this that? Did I accidentally watch the version where it's the meme where it just continues closing the doors over and over?
Over and over because he's like
There's like
he
four
keeps
different
looking.
doors.
I was like, come on, Gandalf, fight back or something, dude. He's closing all the doors. He's not just gonna let you walk through the other door. Come on. What the fuck?
He does the same face like 4 times to each door.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I'll go through this door. Well, I'll go through this door. It's like, come on, man. I thought you were supposed to be wise. You're supposed to see through this. Come on,
Right.
man.
And they just keep flipping each other and like tossing each other. I
Yeah.
just found this battle very comical, and I just couldn't place like what the power difference is between these two.
I have no idea. And like with all the powers that they have, like why are they fighting each other with like just telekinesis? Like then again, I'm not fully aware of what their power
That's,
is.
yeah, this is another one. It's like I don't know what the full extent of the power is. Like I know Gandalf does stuff with the Balrog later, but that's kind of it that you really see.
It was more of like a more kind of like telekinesis where he was just uh like
Yeah,
he destroyed the bridge. It's pretty much all he did with him.
Yeah, and had the shield to deflect that like one hit.
Yeah, he had a shield too, so
Who
I don't know.
knows? I feel like they
Interesting.
have more power than we're seeing, but I'm sure that's stuff that's in the next movies as well that we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, in Return of the King, I don't know if we're going, are we going to be coy about what happens in the next movies or
I mean, the movies are 40 years old. You guys probably should have seen them, or sorry, not 40.
20?
I don't know, I keep saying 40.
First one
20
is
years old now.
22 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, you should have seen him by now. And like in Return of the King, Gandalf just fucking destroys everybody. So he seems kind of weak here in the beginning. So I don't know what happened. I mean, obviously he turns into Gandalf the White, or yeah, yeah. So I don't know
yeah,
if
from
that
Great Away.
means, yeah, I don't know. And then he like put him at the top of the tower, and then he was just trapped up there or something, as if
Yeah,
like he couldn't just like fly or something. He did
and
call
then
an eagle.
yeah, he does call the Eagles, which doesn't get really talked about in this movie either, but becomes a
No.
big thing later.
If he can
It's
call
just
eagles whenever he wants to, like shit, like he could just do that every time. That'd be great.
so I mean, I think there's a lot of setup in this movie, and I completely understand. Like we talked about in Dune, when those later movies come out, it makes the first movie better because now that
Hmm.
we know what happens in Two Towers and Return of the King, it really improves how you see the first movie, knowing what it sets up to. Like
Yeah,
all the references to someone needs to be the king of Gondor and Boromir calling the horn and them not answering the call,
yeah.
probably because they're so far away. But
But he did answer it though. At least Aragorn did.
yeah, maybe that was the intent.
Yeah, yeah. I think because Aragorn is like also still a Gondorian,
Gondorian, yeah.
I guess. He's still a man of Gondor, but he also does like mercenary work, so he kind of is like on his own.
Yeah, kind of denouncing the throne since
Yeah,
he's
because he
next
doesn't
in
want
line.
it. But like that's like the perfect person you want as a king, right? Someone who doesn't want it. You don't want somebody who wants power.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that's why he ends up being like the perfect guy for it. But
Yep.
that's like his whole story arc throughout all three. But it's good. I love it.
Do you think there was any weirdness when the second movie came out? Because it came out in like 2002, about a year after 9/11, and it's called The Two Towers.
Oh no.
I was just thinking about that.
Well, I mean, they couldn't really change the title just for the sake of that. I mean, because the book came out way before any of this.
That's
So,
true. Yeah. But were
and
the books individually titled like Game of Thrones does or
yeah, they're titled the same.
okay.
Yeah, no, not Game of Thrones. That's like Fire and Ice or something, right?
Song of Ice and Fire. Yeah.
Song of Ice and Fire. Yeah, no, they're called the same.
Okay. That's cool.
They're really long books, and they did change up the characters a little bit, from what I know. I talked to my mom because she read all of them, and apparently, like Legolas is supposed to be like some happy drunk, and like he's just always like singing a song and stuff all the time, and they're like always singing songs throughout the books, but they don't sing pretty much at all throughout this. I mean, they sing a song like once or twice, but that's because they're at a bar.
Yeah.
But like there's a lot of like filler in the books of like when they're traveling, and that's when they come up with like that's when they start singing songs and stuff.
Yeah. That makes sense with the transition because in this you can show them traveling, whereas in the
Yeah,
books you can't just skip to oh they're there.
yeah,
They arrived. You gotta make it feel like there's been some time passage.
yeah. In the extended version, I did notice that they stopped for a meal when they first set out. Sam and Frodo, when they first set out, they actually cooked a meal, and they're about to go to sleep. That was added to this version. So like other than that, like all of the traveling parts are just pretty much all summed up.
They talk about food a lot in this movie, actually,
They
and
do.
I almost wonder if the meals were derivative of Tolkien's experience in World War I, because they seemed almost like ration meals. Legolas brings them their elf bread. Forgot the actual name of it. He's like, "Here, you take one corner of a bite, and it will fill you up for hours or something." It's like it almost looks like one of those MRE pieces of bread. And then,
Yeah.
the hobbits have endless stomachs, so they said they like four each.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly if that's the case. I've always had this thought that hobbits just have they just have time to cook in Middle Earth. So they
That's
really take time on like because they do a lot of farming, they do a lot of all that stuff. So they just they like to cook their meals because they're living simple lives. Where
Mhm.
everybody else in Middle Earth is always you know in mass production or making efficient food, so to speak. I guess they're too busy fighting wars. Even though there wasn't really a war before this movie, maybe there was. I don't remember. Um, but yeah, I'm thinking this is like everywhere else except the Shire is just always kind of like in chaos. So the hobbits like to eat their food
Yeah.
with second breakfast and everything.
Yep. Probably study a lot too, because both Frodo and Bilbo seem very well educated about the goings on in the world. Like Frodo just seems like a young kid at first, and then Gandalf starts talking to him about stuff when he's there, and he's like, "Oh, this guy who was defeated in like this year," and he starts like going off about history that happened millennia ago.
Yeah, and yeah, Frodo and the gang, the hobbits just don't know shit. They're just there for the ride.
I love. I don't know if this is in the original, but they drop so many hints about some of the ring's power as well. Like they kept talking about, like, "Hey Bilbo, like when are you gonna drop dead so I can take your house?" And you start to find out like later on the ring actually extends your life when you wear it.
Yeah, like I feel dumb for just now noticing this, but I did notice the age difference when they got to Rivendell and he was there. I'm like, God damn, he just aged like 40 years. And then
Yeah.
Courtney picked up on it. I've seen this a million times. Courtney was like, yeah, it's like probably the ring was keeping him younger. I'm like, oh
Yep.
my God, and I face palmed. Like,
Now it's all catching up with him. He looks a little creepy when they meet back up at the council there, at Elrond's place. And
he looks very creepy.
when he sees the ring around Frodo's neck again, you get probably one of the scariest fucking scenes in all of Lord of the Rings when
Yeah.
Bilbo does his fucking face and he's like, "Give it to me."
Yeah, it's almost like
His eyes go black.
he's like having withdrawals.
Yeah,
He's like fiending.
it's like that. Like, actually creeped me out the way his face changed.
Yeah, that was very scary.
There's a few cool bits of spooky stuff in this too, like the ring wraiths. I really like those guys in general, and
Yeah.
the like the birthing scenes and all the lore surrounding like the Uruk-hai. I really liked like those guys a lot. Like they're super orcs, basically bred to be a lot more efficient at killing. Even though the band of the Ring, the Fellowship of the Ring, kind of slays them just as they did all the normal orcs.
Yeah, that's true. They did seem a lot more organized as an army this time around.
Yeah, a little more intelligent.
Yeah, I mean, just like their moving formations is like I get. I'm assuming before that it was like the goblins and shit that we saw in the Mines of Moria,
More,
which
yeah,
really they looked like spiders crawling everywhere.
yeah. They just flood in.
Yeah, But yeah, they were like all wild and shit. But then these Urukai, they're a lot more organized and like army wise.
Yep. You even had the one who actually knew how to use technologies in the crossbow or the I can't remember what kind of
He
bow he
just
had.
he just had a bow.
Yeah, when he shot Boromir, like, oh, actually a smarter one that's not just rushing in to die again.
Yeah, but
It's
he
being
just
strategic.
took so long to kill him. Like he was just like savoring every moment. It's kind of like a super villain. I get. Like we kind of followed his story ever since he was born, and so he was like the leader of the army. You know, got
Yep,
direct orders from Saruman to grab the hobbits, and
yep.
so I guess he was kind of like an antagonist, like kind of like the big guy. So I could see why he was like they had
Yeah,
that whole sequence with him.
I'd say he's probably the most main antagonist you could put in this movie, other than
Right.
the ring wraiths. But
Because none of our band except Gandalf has seen Saruman. They just
yep,
know about him.
and he's not even the main bad guy. He's also just a lackey.
He is. Yeah, he's a servant of Sauron. You know,
Yep.
we had a conversation while we were watching this, like, why didn't Gandalf kind of pick up on his shady attitude when he went to go visit Saruman? I'm like, yeah, I mean, they were good friends. You know, they're good friends before he decided to portray him. But like, I feel like the way, the shady way he was acting towards the war brewing and Sauron, like, you probably would have picked up on it.
I I thought about that too. I was looking for the tells of okay, where's Gandalf like dropping the ball here? And I feel like originally when they were talking in the tower, Saruman was legitimately coming to him as a friend,
He
trying to
was.
convince him of the right side. So I guess I could see where he mixed up. But then the door closing thing is like, bruh.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, I'm just trying to leave, bro. Why do you gotta do this? And he keeps
Yep.
him captive. What is he gonna do? I thought he was gonna like try torturing him until like who's your daddy? Is it Sauron? But no, he just kind of sat up there.
Yep. So there's a lot of this movie still does continue to impress and age well. There are a few scenes that I don't know, green screen CGI or whatever, but like the ring falling into Frodo's finger when they're in the bar for the first time.
Yeah,
It's like, what
what
the
a
fuck is
perfect
this?
set of circumstances.
Like that was so stupid.
Yeah, that was. I'm sure in the books it was probably in a way to different from that, but then they're like, he probably wouldn't actually put on the ring for whatever reason. Yeah, we have to find a way. It was kind of like a shoehorned way of having the Nazguls figure out where he is
Yo,
without you know him doing it deliberately, which he does plenty of times, other times too. So who knows?
yeah, it just felt like I understood the intention. It just looked really weird.
It was.
There's a lot of stuff. Like even though this movie was like 4 hours long almost, there's still some background scenes that I wish I don't know if they were cut out or just never existed. Like the love scenes between Aragorn and Arwen. I don't know if that happens more in the later movies. I can't recall.
It
Probably
does.
does since they're both still alive.
Yeah.
But I'm missing a lot of stuff, and it really does. The movie does feel like a part of something bigger. It's not
It,
really a standalone thing.
yeah, that's true. But I mean, it'd be hard to put in a movie like all their whole history with each other and why they love each other and stuff, and along with the whole overarching story.
You trying to jump in all the lore of the world, and
Yeah.
it makes
So I
sense.
mean,
It's
I
just
think it's just a lack of time. Kind of like with Dune, it's like there's a lot there that needs to be said, but there's just a lack of time to be put into a movie.
yep.
And it's not. I don't know. I don't think it's anybody's fault, but yeah, like with this movie alone, there is a lot lacking in terms of like what needs to be said. Because like
Yep.
like with what you talking about with Aragorn and Arwen, like you get to see like more of their interactions throughout the rest of the movies, and it like by the end of it, it really does make sense. But yeah, just seeing this, like I can understand, like who is this lady?
Yeah. And I'll talk about more later too. But the ending of this movie kind of caught me off guard, not really remembering where they cut it. It definitely also kind of shows you that this was meant to be a trilogy.
Yeah,
We weren't just going to cut it here.
yeah, because like after this, like the whole gang gets split up, and you pretty much don't see them with each other at all for the rest of the series. So I think that's why like this is my favorite because like they're all together and they're all like doing their thing together and stuff. But like, yes, I mean the rest of them do have their merits, but like I really love seeing all these characters all in one party. I guess.
Yeah, they everyone just works great together. There's such chemistry as they build their relationships, and just the way that everyone has their specialties as well just really just works for me.
Yeah,
It doesn't feel like there's any real duplicate characters or anything. Like obviously all the hobbits are pretty similar, but
they are.
I think they make sense having a bigger group of them because you can't really believably say like during the Urukai attacking and killing Boromir, they take down the hobbits take down a couple of them, but you wouldn't think that they'd be able to do that alone. But just the
No.
way they do it, like one of them goes for the legs and one of them, stabs and
Yeah, they help out when they can, but they definitely would not survive on their own. And I think that's why every time there's a fight with the hobbits and orcs, like there's usually other people involved. I can't remember them taking on anybody by themselves.
yep.
So
Merry and Pippin, I think, are probably my favorite characters through the whole movie.
yeah,
Um, just as like just as a singular movie here, of course, like Aragorn becomes a big badass, and Gandalf, of course, is awesome throughout the series. But like Merry and Pippin, just for this one, are such great comedic relief that I don't remember a lot of these lines from when I watched it before. Like Gandalf's trying to get into the mines of Moria, and one of the two keeps chipping in ideas to open the door. He just fucking yells at him.
it's like, will you please shut up? So I'm trying to focus here. Basically, what he said.
Yeah, keeps like
But yeah,
threatening to throw him away off a cliff or something.
yeah, Pippin is especially great because like he's just kind of dumb. I mean, he's not dumb, but like he just kind of acts stupid sometimes
Yep,
in like a funny way. And Mary is the one that kind of keeps him in line,
yep. And
but not really either because they both are troublemakers.
they keep jumping into everything. Like how they even got into this whole story in the first place is running around in the farmer's field,
Yeah,
uh, and then they get involved into the fellowship because they snuck in on the council. And
yeah. What I thought was
Elrond's
funny,
face when they pop up there.
yeah, what I thought was funny when they were eavesdropping on the council, and he's like, "There's a fellowship. I want to join." They're like, "All right, you're with," and he's like, "What are we doing?" It's like you're eavesdropping. You have no idea what the hell's going on. And there's like, if Frodo's going, I'm going, and then they didn't really pay attention to anything else. I don't know what they were doing eavesdropping, anyways. If they were just sneaking around, like trying to find some food or something.
I think they just love gossip.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the kind of vibe I got from around the Shires. They just love to talk.
they love to talk. They do. Very simple lives, and then they have very simple interests.
Yep. I don't remember the squid monster either outside of that locked door to the mines. Do you remember if that's in the original?
It was,
It was? Okay.
yeah,
I thought that thing was pretty interesting. It'd be cool to see more sea life and monsters like that other
more
than
monsters.
dragons.
Yeah, there's definitely more monsters in like the second two movies. But yeah, that squid was kind of critical in locking them into the mines of Moria, so they have to go through it.
Yep. I will
But
say I
yeah,
really like. I wish we seen more of the Balrog, but I really did like the cave troll that bursts in that big fighting in the throne room there.
yeah.
Kind of felt like Harry Potter when the troll breaks into the bathroom and stuff, and he's just swinging his hammer around and trying to hit shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. Why do trolls always act like that? They're just all rage mode. They don't even know what they're doing.
Fucking Legolas puts like 3 arrows through his head, and he's still walking around and hitting at things.
And then he gets like one arrow like between the eyes. Like I don't know if he was like missing his tiny brain or something.
Yeah, just got
One
really.
shot and then that was it. He's down.
Yeah, but I like that they all like work together, and fucking Frodo gets stabbed again. I
Yep,
swear he gets stabbed so many times.
he does. And like I'm like, holy shit, how many times is this guy gonna get stabbed?
And I was like, I know he has the mithril on, but like, why are you doing all those faces? Is it just, did you break your ribs or something when he hit you?
I know. I'm like, yeah, it probably hurt, but like, why did he look like that? Like he just looked like he just was about to die. And
Yeah,
I don't like. I get it. You wanted for the story's sake, you wanted to make people think that he was gonna die, but like,
again.
come on, again, yeah. He has like the same facial expression every time he gets stabbed, and he's just always shocked, and he looks like he's staring at the face of God, and
How could you do this?
yeah, it looks offended at the same time. Yeah, it's
I
kind of
really,
cheesy, but
I really do like the escape scenes as well from the Balrog there, and then of course the scene everyone knows and probably talks about is the "You shall not pass" on the bridge.
yeah,
But I like the whole staircase thing with Legolas teaching Frodo how to balance it and getting them across, and then nobody tosses a dwarf. He jumps over and barely makes it.
yeah. Oh man, yeah. That was pretty intense there. Like they were just like rocking back and forth on this staircase. First of all, when they build these staircases, why are they just like why are they like that? Why don't they just use a ladder? You know, is a thin staircase that much safer?
Dwarves are bored. They have a lot of time to build staircases and big mines.
And fucking pillars. They called that a city, but it was just a big cave full of pillars.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it looked more beautiful at some point.
Maybe. I
But
mean,
yeah, a
yeah,
little dead inside.
a little dead.
But yeah, obviously, news doesn't travel faster on the dwarf world because it seemed destroyed for quite a while, and
Yeah,
Gimli was not aware of that.
Gimli was so excited to see his family. Yeah, it was had to have been at least like 60, 80, 100 years. They've all been dead.
It's like you didn't notice when your family stopped sending you postcards or whatever they do in Middle Earth.
They must be really, really disconnected. But like I know that dwarves do live longer than humans, but
Yep.
not as long as elves. I don't know what the aging difference is between the two, but I do know they have a lot longer lives.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense because I feel like some of the ones from this movie are in The Hobbit as well, right? I thought there was one or two that we see, or like family members. Never mind, maybe it's not them themselves.
Mm, maybe, maybe. I think you're right. Not sure
They
though.
they could be alive. Looks like around 250 years for a dwarf lifespan. So if,
250.
so if Bilbo's still alive throughout the two movies, then or two series, then the dwarves probably are.
Yeah, that's
At
true.
least the ones that survive in The Hobbit. But
Yeah, not very many of them survive, if any.
yep. Why the hell does Sean Bean have to die in every movie he's in? Is that like a thing in his contract?
It must be, dude, and it sucks.
I think I've seen one movie, and it's probably Interstellar that he did not die in.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
he's a
mean, I don't,
scientist. But
I don't remember him being in Interstellar. It's been a long time since I've seen Interstellar.
he was in a very small role, or sorry, not Interstellar, Martian.
Oh, The Martian.
With was it Gambino in that movie?
He was.
I think it
Yeah,
was. He's one of the scientists with him.
Donald Glover.
He doesn't die,
Yeah,
but
he was the astrophysicist.
you. But yeah, almost every other movie I've seen this guy in, he dies. Usually not
Unfortunately,
great deaths either.
no. Gets beheaded in Game of Thrones. Gets shot with an arrow 3 times, 4 times in this
Yep.
movie. Um, yeah,
I like Sam's dedication to Frodo as well. I don't know what their relationship is before. I didn't think it was just friends because he almost seems like a master servant type of relationship, or like a respect for your elders. I I couldn't tell what their
yeah,
relationship was in the Shire, but Sam is just fucking dedicated to Frodo,
he
and
is.
I love that to the point where he like drowned himself at the end to
He did.
not leave Frodo alone.
Yeah, that shows great dedication. Like, I don't know what like his relationship is with him is too. Like, I'm wondering that too because
He
you
always
see
calls
them
him like
hanging out a little
Sir
bit
or
at
Master or something like that.
yeah, as like I know he was given an assignment to help Frodo in his quest by Gandalf. But that doesn't really change the role of a friendship like that. You know, start
Yeah,
calling your friend master just because you've been tasked to help them. But
yep.
who knows?
Yeah, and then they kind of just walk into Mordor simply,
Yeah.
and the movie just kind of ends there. And I was a little shocked. I forgot that the where the movie ended. I was like, oh, they're not going to Mordor in this one, are they? And then, of course, it cut off. And I know I was texting you during, and I was like, yeah, I got like 30 minutes left. I'm actually really excited for this last part. And then there was 20 minutes of credits.
Yeah, it kind of wrapped up though, because then like you kind of seen that Frodo and Sam were about to go into Mordor. You know, Pippin and Merry got captured, and then the rest of the guys they're like, okay, you know, Frodo is going on his own, but we can still save Merry and Pippin. And then
Yep.
they leave, and that's it. So it kind of wraps up. Someone like kind of know what their task is and what they're gonna do in the next movie.
Yeah, there's no loose ends necessarily because you know where people are going next.
Yeah, you know what to expect at least.
Yep. It does make
But
me
yeah, it
super
does.
excited to go to the next one though.
Yeah, absolutely.
But 20 minutes of credits. I don't know if I feel like most
It
movies are like
has to be
8 to
like
10 minutes.
the seemingly endless amount of extras throughout this movie. I
Yeah.
mean, think about it though. Like if you got called up by Peter Jackson and he's like, "Hey, I want you to play an orc in this movie." I'm like, "Say less. Let's go."
Let's
You
do
know,
it. Yep.
let's do it. Yeah. So, I mean, the orcs, the armies. I mean, not really armies, small groups of people, all that stuff, and all the
Yeah.
hobbits.
I mean, it is a huge staff that worked on this movie. Like even like their visual effects and special effects departments,
Oh yeah,
huge multi-page lists of names.
oh, I bet. Especially since with it being like so early in the CGI field, like you probably need a lot of people on deck to actually pull shit like this off.
Yep.
But like speaking of CGI, Gollum is probably like one of the like still like one of the highest detailed characters I've seen in a CGI character.
Oh yeah, we don't get to see him too much in this movie, which I was sad about. I thought this was one that we seen him more, but Andy Serkis does a hell of a job in those. I don't know if it was mocap back then, but at least his role for doing Gollum here.
Yeah,
Spectacular.
it was great. Yeah, we don't see much of Golem throughout this, but like the eyes and all that stuff was just phenomenal.
Looks a whole lot better than the Golem video game.
Oh yeah, which is nuts. I mean, you'd think they'd have a bigger budget for that game.
Nope.
Since
Pushing up
WB
crap.
like owns the rights for Lord of the Rings, correct?
Not for the games. Embracer owns most of those.
Oh, okay.
They've been buying them up. I think they actually own the new Middle Earth games too.
They do. I know that. But so like in order to like keep a rights to a certain franchise, like you have to put something out like every like 10 years, within like 10 years or something for in order to keep it, right?
It's something like that. I know that's what they do with like Disney properties a lot. They have to continuously like renew the trademark and do stuff with it.
I feel like that's what they did with Space Jam and The Matrix.
Yeah. Oh, they're like, shit, we got these licenses coming up. It's going to
Yeah.
go public domain if we don't use it.
Yeah, it's like how are we going to make a Matrix movie? And it's like, all right, well, we'll think about it or not think about it.
It's just, I know they probably get their money back just on name alone, but like, can we just stop doing that? Just let the license go.
Let it go.
Whatever the thing is,
I
stop
mean,
recreating shit.
exactly. I mean,
How
it took
many?
forever for EA to, give up the rights for Star Wars.
Yeah. And look how good it's been doing. Who's the one that does the new one?
We finally got a decent Star Wars game coming out now.
Yeah.
I mean, Jedi Survivor was good. Don't get me wrong, but like we have like other good stories coming out now. Like was this Star Wars Outlaws?
Outlaws. Yeah.
Yeah, that one looks pretty good. But yeah, it's shit like that. And then like Sony has to come out with like apparently they had Morbius as they wanted to keep that, so they came out with the movie.
Yeah. Don't want to lose rights to the MCU scooping up more people.
Yeah. Yeah, so they pretty much come out with everything they got for Spider-Man and then they're like, "Oh, we got Morbius, we might as well do something with that and come out with a shit movie."
Yep.
Which only got any recognition because of memes. Pretty sure it was dead on release.
Yep.
I was still looking for its Morbin time, but never saw it. I was
I
so convinced. Like I was so convinced that was like a quote in the movie because everybody said it. I
I
love the part
was
where he says it's Morbin time.
fucking fake news. I was literally convinced by memes as well that that was an actual line. He doesn't
Yeah,
actually say it. He does say, you won't like me when I'm angry," or something like that in the
yeah,
movie.
he does say that.
And just like, stop, please.
Don't use that. That quote's already used.
It was already bad when the Hulk said it.
Yeah, it was. You won't like me when I'm angry. Yeah, it's just used too much now.
Yeah, you got anything more for Lord of the Rings?
I don't think so. You know my opinion on it, and it is
Hmm.
hazardous.
I I would say it's more the opposite. I think we both fall in the category of loving this movie, and with the majority of people, as this movie has like what, like an 8.8,
Yeah,
probably easily one of the top 50 movies of all time.
popularity is on the rise for some reason. Probably because they announced that they're coming out with a new trilogy.
Oh god.
Yeah, I really hope they don't fuck it up. They didn't do too
Yep.
bad with The Hobbit, though, so.
Yeah. So if you guys have any comments, questions, or want to share your thoughts about Lord of the Rings or any other movies and games we've done, you could always reach us at Hazardous Opinions Pod on Gmail or Instagram. And we have a Discord. Reach out to us. You can talk to us in real time. We try to respond to people as soon as we can. Links in the description to join that. What you're watching lately?
Oh, nothing, nothing really of note. If I'm gonna be honest, I haven't watched a movie except this one in a while.
Keeping it relaxed.
Keeping it relaxed, Just watching anime and TV shows
That's fair. That's fair.
or cooking shows. If I'm going to be specific, so we probably don't want to talk about that. Yeah. What about you?
I have a few recommends. Black Mirror season 6 just dropped a few days ago. Very good. I binged
I
the whole
did
thing
watch
pretty
the first
quickly.
episode of that. Joan is
Joan is
Joan is
awful.
awful. Yeah,
Yep,
that was a trip itself. So I mean, it's probably a testament for what's going to happen throughout the rest of it.
indeed. I was very happy with all 5 of the episodes, so it's definitely a high recommend from me. I also got into this other new show that just started streaming on Netflix called Beef. It's got
Oh,
Stephen Yeun in it from The Walking Dead fame, and it is very good. If you
I really like that
watch
one.
watch through the first episode, and if it hooks you, you're gonna enjoy the rest of the show.
It is so good.
It's a little slow for the few episodes after it, but like from like episode 6 to the finale, it picks up. It's good.
Yeah, it just pulls you in like right away. First of all, you're wondering why the fuck he's returning like 60 was it grills or
Yeah,
something?
he had like a couple hibachi girls or whatever they were.
Yeah, he goes out of the parking lot and then somebody was it what happens? Somebody just sits out in front of him as he's
She nearly
backing up.
backs into him, or he nearly backs into her.
Yeah, and
And
then
it's
she
just,
just sits there and lays on the horn, and then
yep,
chaos ensues.
one road rage incident just leads to this whole wacky show that gets really deep into feelings actually, and like
It
real
really
talks
does.
about depression and a lot of other real topics, but like covered in so much comedy and just insanity about what's going on as well. Great show. I don't think I've been happier watching a show in the last few years.
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen David Cho in a show that's like him acting, which is kind of crazy. David Cho, he plays his cousin.
Oh, I was like, do you mean the main character guy?
No,
But no, his he actually just does have the same name as like one of the characters,
yeah. Wait, wait, what?
or similar name, because Danny Cho is the main character. David Cho is one of the actors.
Oh yeah, David Cho is one of the actors. Yeah,
Yep. But he was really good. I liked his stuff.
yeah. I mean, he doesn't do much acting is all at all. He's just an artist, but he has his own show. It's the Cho show that I've seen, and he basically interviews people and paints with them, and he's just really down to earth and stuff. I love him.
The cousin or
The
the rich
cousin,
husband.
the cousin, he
Oh,
he plays an asshole in this show, Beef, but like
yep.
he's actually a really good dude.
Yeah, I really liked his character. I won't get into too much because we'll probably do our own thing on Beef one day. But
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe.
he surprised me by not being one note.
Yeah,
So yeah, and then I just had a couple movies as well. La La Land from 2016 with Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. Been recommended that one for quite a few years. Finally got around to watching it, and it's better than I was expecting.
even if it's a musical.
Yeah, and I'm not usually one for musicals, but there was a lot more story here than just music,
Oh,
and
that's good.
actually a lot of talking. So it ended up being a really good drama that really just pulls you in from the first couple scenes. So that one's a
Okay.
high recommend, and then a semi recommend slash not recommend.
Hmm.
Army of Thieves, also a Netflix one that they helped produce. This is a prequel to Army of the Dead with Batista.
I've seen Army of the Dead.
Yeah, this is a prequel that kind of gives you the backstory of the safecracker that's in that movie. And
Oh,
not really a necessary movie and not very great. It's very formulaic and okay, but
Yeah.
the one standout thing that would make me recommend this is the main character, who is, sorry, I'm blanking on his name, George Dieter the in this one and in Army of the Dead. He's played by a German actor, Matthias. I'm probably going to butcher his name, Schweighofer.
Yeah.
But he did really good. He's a good comedian, and his role in this movie alone is probably the sole reason to go see it.
Okay. So Army of the Dead and Army of Thieves came out in the same year. That's actually like pretty impressive.
Yeah, I guess they had enough revenue from Netflix to go do it again.
Yeah.
I mean, both are very overall middle of the road movies. I think they're like 5, 6. But I don't know, if you liked Army of the Dead, you'll probably like Army of Thieves. I think it's
Yeah.
probably even better than it, even though it doesn't have zombies.
It's a big Zack Snyder film.
Yep.
You can just tell.
Yeah. So we are doing a bit of an older movie for our next one, even older than this one by a few years. We're going to be watching Fargo, and we will be having a special guest with us.
Yeah. Actually
So,
having a special guest this time.
yeah, it's been a few episodes since we've actually had someone else on the show, so we're gonna discuss this one with someone else. And as being both Midwestern living people, Fargo
Yep.
is the one movie that's kind of from up there, so
Yeah.
it'll be good to cover.
Yep. It'll be our staple. It'll be our crown jewel movie. Represents the Midwest.
I hope. I mean, I haven't seen this one
I
yet,
hope
so
so.
we'll see how good it is.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, that's all I have.
That's all for me too.
Alrighty. See you guys.
Later.